Given a 24-hour notice to move out.
Health experts are exploring the possibility of recommending booster shots to help slow the spread of COVID. I'm Skyler Henry at the White House as federal and state officials are now mandating vaccines.
Also, fans finally have a chance to watch a big league game in the Field of Dreams.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
The noon deadline ends to evacuate a housing complex in Miami, Oklahoma. This is KOAM News at noon. I'm Tanya Bach. Topping our first 7 minutes, residents are forced to quickly move out of the Miami towers after structural concerns are revealed. Renovations were already in the works for the housing complex. This week, an engineering survey of the building structure found big concerns, which led to an immediate evacuation order. And that meant 24 hours. And the low-income housing residents had to be out. Many called on friends and family to help them scramble. The Miami Housing Authority says it found temporary housing for the residents and was standing by to help people move.
We're having to scramble to get our stuff together. We're having to get essentials right now, and then we're allowed back in 3 or 4 days later to get the rest of our stuff. But right now they're basically just wanting everybody to get out.
And again, that deadline to move essential items ended at noon today. Once renovations are complete, the residents will be allowed to move back in if they choose to, but there's no word on how long those renovations may take. Well, a major Southwest Missouri employer is getting even bigger. A groundbreaking on the Lazy Boy NEOSHO campus yesterday marks the start of a $30 million expansion of its 550,000 square foot plant. The furniture making plant that began operations in 1970 currently employs about 950 workers and intends to hire 100 more. The expansion includes various upgrades and renovations throughout the upholstery plant, a new medical clinic for employees and their families, and a new parts distribution center. Well, if you can make it just a few more days, a break from this heat is coming. Mike Laislip joins us with a first look.
And really, after we get through today, I mean, tomorrow you're going to notice a big difference. And that's because of our overnight rain that's going to help out. Beautiful day outside of Television City, whole bunch of blue skies. But yep, here we are at the noon hour, and 90s already around the board. 92 is in Joplin and Chanute. Throw Carthage in at 92 as well, 91 in Miami. And looks like our low spot, if you want to call it low here at the noon hour, is going to be 87 in Pittsburgh. The wind has let back just a little bit. You know, yesterday we were talking about 20 to 25 miles per hour at this point in time. Now we're sitting anywhere from about, that 10 to 15 range. I know it's picking up a little bit out there to the west where Independence and Chanute are at 17 and 16 miles per hour. Skywatch Storm Tracker, though, even the cloud cover that we had in the southern portion of northeast Oklahoma and southern southwest Missouri is a thing of the past. And you know what? Give it 8 hours. This heat advisory will also be a thing of the past, because what's happening is the trough of the jet stream over the Great Lakes going to take this heat and going to shift it east of the Mississippi. Tanya's talking about the Field of Dreams coming up that we're going to preview, and the bustling metropolis of Dyersville, Iowa. I'll eyeball it about right there. No weather worries. No weather worries. It's actually not unseasonably hot up there anyway. About 97 this afternoon. This could be the third consecutive day that we roll 97s, and you got to go back to about 2018, the last time that we had a run like this of 3 consecutive days. I know that sounds crazy, but overnight we're going to get some thunderstorm activity. Nothing severe, Tanya. Don't want to alarm anybody, but we'll break down our thunderstorms, where they're coming from, how long they're last. And also, too, some much-needed relief on the backside of it, as our temperature is much more seasonable over the weekend into next week after the rain comes.
All right, well, ready for the rain and ready for a cool down.
We're getting there. Like I said, 8 more hours, we'll let this heat advisory go away.
All right, we'll take it. Thanks, Michael. Well, some Americans will soon be asked to get a third COVID-19 booster shot. This comes as the Delta variant continues to spread in many areas of the country, sending hospitalizations up and fueling concerns about kids returning to school. Skyler Henry has more details from the White House.
CBS News has confirmed the FDA will authorize a COVID-19 booster shot for people with compromised immune systems.
We're already starting to see indications in some sectors about a diminution over time, that's durability.
Dr. Anthony Fauci says all Americans may need a booster shot in the future, just not right now.
We don't feel at this particular point that apart from the immune compromised, we don't feel we need to give boosters right now. But importantly, we are following this in real time, literally on a weekly and monthly basis.
But health officials are struggling to get many Americans to get their first vaccine dose. And the large number of unvaccinated Americans is responsible for spreading the Delta variant, with an average of 113,000 new COVID cases per day, a more than 400% increase in the last month. The Biden administration continues to institute vaccine mandates for many federal workers. The Department of Health and Human Services issued a mandate for its healthcare workers today. And the VA is expanding the number of its employees required to get the vaccine.
This is the best way to protect our veteran patients in the VA system. They've given so much to this country. They ought to have the confidence that when they come into a VA hospital, they're going to be safe.
California announced school teachers and staff will be required to be vaccinated or be tested weekly for COVID-19.
It's the right thing to do, to keep our most precious resource healthy and safe, our children.
Meanwhile, Fort Worth, Texas is the latest school district to require masks in school, in spite of Texas Governor Greg Abbott's statewide ban on mask mandates.
We will monitor our COVID data and revisit this protocol as appropriate.
Texas is one of 7 states that have issued a ban on mask and vaccine mandates. Skyler Henry, CBS News, the White House.
Governor orders barring mask and vaccine mandates are facing legal challenges. A Dallas County judge issued a temporary restraining order against Texas's order this week. That's a look at today's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Up next on KOAM News at Noon, from the big screen to the big league, we take you to the first ever Major League Baseball game in Iowa. And later, we're making Buckeye brownies in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen. For years, fans of the 1989 baseball film Field of Dreams have found their way to Dyersville, Iowa to see where it was shot. Today, that big screen dream is becoming a big league reality when the Yankees and White Sox face off on a field constructed right next to the movie set in custom throwback uniforms. Mola Lingi takes us to Dyersville, Iowa for the story.
It only took 32 years, but Major League Baseball has finally come to Iowa, inspired by the 1989 movie Field of Dreams, starring Kevin Costner as an Iowa farmer who builds a ball field in his cornfield. Tonight in Dyersville, Iowa, the movie will come to life on a new field right next to the movie set.
It is special, and I gotta say, I don't say too often, you're missing it a little bit. This is pretty neat here.
Unbelievable.
It's more than that. It's perfect.
In right field, there's a gate where the players will actually enter the field and they'll be coming out of the corn. A lot like it was in the movie.
The movie, so popular among fans it's now part of baseball lore, uses the game to tell a story about fathers and sons and repairing the past.
And I read this little movie on my couch and it just felt like it had gold dust all over it.
We have reserved seats somewhere along one of the baselines where they sat when they were children and cheered their heroes, and they watched the game.
When Larry Bailey heard they were hiring fans to work the game, he and his wife drove 500 miles from Kentucky.
I'm a baseball nut.
The guy is like a kid again.
Baseball makes you feel like you're 12, whether you're 7 or 70. When I stepped from the grass onto the dirt, I felt something a little bit magical happen.
A big kid on a ball field, in a cornfield, living a dream.
Is this heaven? It's Iowa.
About 8,000 fans are expected to attend tonight's game. Many Iowans who will see their first Major League Baseball game ever played here in the state of Iowa. And MLB tells me this may not be the last game on that Field of Dreams. Mola Lingi, CBS News, Dyersville, Iowa.
Major League Baseball had to haul in 4,000 tons of sand and 2,000 tons of gravel to build the Major League ballpark. Pretty cool. Still to come on the KOAM News at Noon, Mr. Food.
The homemade Larry brownies that we're making today are so good, they may cause you to feel weak in the knees. If this is a risk you're willing to take, I suggest you stick around.
It is for me. But first, Michael Hayslip returns with your complete forecast.
Race to see if we get to 98 degrees is on once again. We talked about why that's that magical number from yesterday, because after we put up a pair of 97s on Tuesday and Wednesday, hit Tuesday. That was our highest temperature, 2001, and then we just straight repeated it on Wednesday. So yet to eclipse the 97 degree mark. And remember, you got to go all the way back to 2018, the last time we actually hit 98 degrees, at least the Joplin Regional. I know that's crazy to think, because you go to Chanutes Airport, you had 3 98-degree days in the month of July alone. 92 is where we sit over Joplin, already feeling like it's 101 degrees. As far as our temperatures go right now, we're sitting pretty much in the high 80s. We got a couple low 90s on there, and a couple triple digits there for the heat index. But remember, we don't really hit our peak heating hours till about 3:30 this afternoon, so we got a ways to go. One thing of note, the wind backing off just a tad, not as blustery as what it was yesterday. And also too, humidity, well, it's actually going to increase because we've got a little front that's going to work down on us and bring us some nighttime, early morning rain. As far as the heat advisories go, we find ourselves on the far western edge. Look at this thing. How far it tracks though now, with the orange and the red all indicating heat advisories, heat warnings. We're talking from us and really down to the Gulf, all the way up to Maine. It's going to be a record-setting heat wave that they're going to experience for this time of year on the East Coast for the next 3 to 4 days. Our Skywatch Storm Tracker has remained dry so far today. And as we take a look at the national perspective, it's a result of the jet stream. And what it wants to do is, as it pushes everything to the east there with the trough, it's going to take that heat wave and it's going to usher it right toward them. In fact, look at those temperatures right now for D.C. and for, that's not too, Raleigh, they're going to be all right with that. D.C. and Boston sitting in the 90s right now in the middle of August. No, they are not ready for that. And it's just going to get hotter for them as well. Tanya was talking about Field of Dreams site. That's in Dyersville, Iowa. And I tell you what, Major League Baseball absolutely lucking out tonight. There is no threat of any chance of any precipitation here for really the next 24 hours right along the river right there. And so that just is going to work out perfectly for those of you that are interested in the game. For those of you that might not also know, Dyersville, Iowa is the home of the National Farm Toy Museum. So if you're a tractor collector or something like that for kids' toys, that is where the National Museum is. Fred's now a low pressure system, a tropical depression, if you will. But as it pours on the northern coast of Cuba, it will also regain strength as it heads towards southern Florida. That's what we'll be looking at nationally speaking. Two things nationally speaking as we hit the weekend is going to be the East Coast heat wave, and it's going to be Fred redeveloping as it heads towards Florida. For us here in the 4 states, well, we're actually going to go the opposite direction. Our temperature's going to be more manageable, and that's thanks in part to this front. So we see it develop up to the north for tonight, and as it drops through, we are going to see some bouts of some heavy rain, little lightning, little thunder as well, but not looking at anything severe, and luckily our ground dry enough, we'll be able to absorb everything. Then as we get into Friday morning travel time, not looking too bad. The heaviest rain is kind of let up. And this thing's going to linger, though, into the early afternoon hours, but eventually it'll break up and then reformulate for the afternoon and evening. But look at this. Overnight lows finally getting close down to 60, and our daily highs, yeah, how about 87 on Saturday and 90 on Sunday?
Well, ready for a cool down. That's all I can say.
It's coming. Tomorrow's going to feel much better.
It's summer. It's supposed to be hot, but we love a break when we can get one.
And tomorrow's going to be much better. I mean, even though it says 94, you're going to notice a big difference tomorrow after that rain comes through.
Good deal. All right. Thanks, Michael. We take this time to honor today's 4-state hero, Staff Sergeant Arthur Stockbrand in the U.S. Army. The Yates Center native joined the Bloody Bucket 23rd Unit in 1946. He was stationed in Germany during the Reconstruction phase after World War II. Stockbrand earned the Top Sergeant Award. To Staff Sergeant Arthur Stockbrand, we thank you, our 4-state hero. You're going to want to pull up a seat for today's recipe. Howard's making delicious, decadent, layered brownies that are sure to make you swoon in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
If you love decadent desserts like I do, you're going to love what we're making today. It's a homemade brownie topped with a rich peanut butter filling, and finished with a layer of fudge. I have to warn you though, these may cause you to feel weak in the knees, and you might even drool a bit while you're waiting for your first bite. If that's okay with you, then let's get started. We begin by making a homemade brownie batter, which we'll pour into a pan and bake until it passes the toothpick test. As these bake and cool, we'll make our to-die-for filling. It's simply some peanut butter and powdered sugar that we beat together until it's nice and fluffy. This gets spread over our baked brownies. Then to make these over the top good, we finish them with a 3-ingredient chocolate glaze that is pure decadence. Once all the layers are set up, cut it into squares and serve. If your house is anything like mine, there'll be a line out the door as soon as they get a whiff of them. To get the recipe for our Buckeye brownies, simply visit our website. I'm Howard in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen, where today we found a fudgy good way for you to say, ooh, it's so good.
Oh, that looks good. You can find this recipe along with a lot more good food from the Mr. Food Test Kitchen online. Just go to our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. Now here's a look at our 4 state market prices.
Hot afternoon followed by some thunderstorm activity that'll roll in late tonight, early Friday morning. Get some bouts of some pretty good rain, little lightning thunder with it as well, but breaking up just in time for the morning commute. And while tomorrow will still be in the mid-90s, that front will eventually bring us more seasonable and manageable temperatures for the weekend.
It's good to hear.
Yeah, we need a break. What do we have coming up tonight at 5?
Well, at 5, a new report finds many sunscreens don't offer adequate protection or include potentially harmful ingredients. Why new rules from the FDA are expected this fall. Plus, a new Missouri program allows some students more options for education. Find out about the school voucher program, see if it works and if your child qualifies. And the Homeless Coalition hosts its annual event to connect resources to those in need. Hope you join us for those stories. A lot more, of course. It's all coming up today on KOAM News at 5.
All right, thank you, Dow. Thanks for joining us for KOAM News at Noon. We'll see you right back here at 5 o'clock.